You know what I'm learning by hanging out with this cat? You can already feel it, by the way. There's money everywhere, okay?
There's opportunity everywhere.
There is, man. It's crazy. So for Christmas, what we're doing is by listening to all of this episode, you're going to end up with a lot more money than when you started the episode with. Just in 30 minutes, man. It's crazy what's going to happen. Like the end, you're going to look at your bank account in 30 minutes and boom, it's going to grow. Okay? Merry Christmas.
Well, thanks to you too, man. You do a great job. You really are bringing people together. And what I love is you bring people together and we're going to tell them how to make money in different ways.
Sure.
And it doesn't, we're not saying we're not recruiting. It's just let us show you how to make some money.
Totally.
And you can bring so many different ideas in different areas. It's just awesome. So
it is awesome.
Thanks to you, buddy.
We got a special CA Power Players podcast, normally live every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Cody Askins. Today, okay, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve, by the way. We got a special Christmas episode with my good buddy, Mr. Matthew Evans. What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Christmas special. Who doesn't like
right,
Christmas?
Man.
We
Dude,
get to...
for real, you're a gift.
I am
to
a
the
gift.
to the industry right now. A gift, right? He's been a gift to me in my life, by the way, right? Him and his wife, Christy, have been a gift to Lauren and I, because of how awesome they are. So for those who don't know, okay, Matt, we're business partners in F2, which stands for Financial Freedom. And what we're really doing on that side of the industry, by the way, is we're acquiring P&C agencies. So we're going to talk acquisitions today a little bit, okay? This dude's a genius. He's the money man. Once I have millions of dollars to invest, he's the dude I'm going to give it to, okay?
Yeah.
So acquisitions, right? We're buying agencies around the country, which is cool. Also have the financial advising piece, right? Where we're helping people manage their money from a financial advisor standpoint, which is cool. What else?
We're plugging people into offices on the financial planning side where they don't have somebody and they want to figure out how to scale that, but they don't want to go get their license right away, and we can show them how to scale that.
Yeah.
And then we're also talking on the doing a lot of opportunities on the banks and credit union side.
True.
And
you know what I'm learning by hanging out with this cat? You can already feel it, by the way. There's money everywhere, okay?
There's opportunity everywhere.
There is, man. It's crazy. So for Christmas, what we're doing is by listening to all of this episode, you're going to end up with a lot more money than when you started the episode with. Just in 30 minutes, man. It's crazy what's going to happen. Like the end, you're going to look at your bank account in 30 minutes and boom, it's going to grow. Okay? Merry Christmas.
Well, thanks to you too, man. You do a great job. You really are bringing people together. And what I love is you bring people together and we're going to tell them how to make money in different ways.
Sure.
And it doesn't, we're not saying we're not recruiting. It's just let us show you how to make some money.
Totally.
And you can bring so many different ideas in different areas. It's just awesome. So
it is awesome.
Thanks to you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Also, too, we're doing morning devotionals and Bible studies at these different roadshow spots around the country. Matt is leading that. Okay, so he's really creating he's really getting involved in creating an impact around the industry and doing some big stuff. He's great with people, phenomenal negotiator, great from a relationship standpoint. Only time you'd ever be actually negotiating with people is if you're trying to help them buy an agency with us, right? So if you're out there and you've got money, you would like to find agencies in your area that want to sell. So we've got a marketing engine that can do that. Why don't you talk about that?
So yeah,
piece?
we have a marketing engine that will go out and help you find agencies kind of in your area. So with Cody, Brian, my wife, it's just a phenomenal way to, as Cody always says, you have a choice. Do I work for 10 years and grow it? Or could we go buy it right now and grow it? So we
think about that too. Like you're sitting there, okay? I'm gonna come back to Matt in a second, but think about that. Like you're sitting there and you're like, okay, you could spend 10 years building a book of business, work your butt off, 10,000 clients, whatever, over 10 years, right? Or you can earn every single bit of it, by the way, or you can just buy it all tomorrow.
Right.
Which would you do? Okay, I'm kind of curious. I'd love to hear from you on your answer for this question. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I used to think, by the way, I'm going to be honest, I'm 31. I used to think when I was 21, I would rather build it. Then you get a little older, a little more mature, a little wiser, and you stop wanting to work as hard if you can avoid it, right?
Yep.
And you're like, dude, I'd rather just buy it, acquire it.
Well, and
give it to me.
Yeah, and as you say, and I think like Grant Cardone and the Brad Lees, it's like, where do you want to spend your money?
Yes.
Do you want to spend it buying $500 drinks every weekend, or do we
Yeah.
want to spend it to buy $10,000 in recurring revenue every week?
Yes.
And so I definitely think we would pick, let's buy recurring revenue. And
Yeah.
so we will actually, what's awesome is I think you're providing a great opportunity for people in the Medicare space and other spaces that might not have a property and casualty license. We're providing an opportunity to go out and find revenue right away.
Correct. Even if you know nothing about PNC,
Even-
you should
yeah.
still listen to this.
Even if you know nothing about PNC, because how many have we bought? And collectively, me, you, and Brian, how much do we know about PNC?
Not a lot.
Nothing.
Thankfully, your wife knows a lot more than
Right.
we do. Yeah.
So
I don't know a
collectively,
dang thing.
yeah, collectively
I could sell it. You could sell it. Right?
Yeah. So collectively, we don't know a whole lot, but it's going to generate tens of thousands of dollars every single month in revenue.
It's awesome.
But what's awesome is those 500 clients are automatically prospects for your Medicare,
Yeah.
prospects for your life, prospects for your annuity.
Yes.
And you know how many, Brian was telling the story, you took a 300 grand revenue agency and you took it to how much?
600.
By offering
600 to 700 probably now.
yeah, by just offering
By
other
finding,
avenues.
yeah, additional compensation, overrides, revenue, additional revenue streams from cross-selling the book. We haven't even got to the annuity piece that we're now exploding on the SIG side now, right?
Yeah.
They've written over 3 million annuities in the last like 40 days. Then we also, you're going to help on the financial planning side, which we haven't really done with that book. So there's opportunity, right? Like if you're listening and you're like, dude, I'm new. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like what is this money thing? Like I haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
I want you to think I want this episode to challenge you to think a little bigger, right? And to think outside the box a little bit. Like the cool thing about our industry, there's so much opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
What I love is teaming up with really cool people and finding additional opportunity, because I can tell you by partnering with Matt and Christy and really adding them to the squad and the team and us adding on their team, right? What's cool about it is there's a lot of additional things that we think about. We just got done with a 2022 planning meeting, right, for next year. And there's a lot of additional ideas that people can come up with, and they don't have to always be yours, right? Like you don't want to be the
Absolutely.
smartest person in the room. And anytime Dylan and I hang out with Matt, he's always the smartest person in the room immediately.
You're being
Then
humble.
Dylan, then me. Right, Dylan? Or are you first?
I'm last.
He says he's last. I don't know about all that.
What I think is awesome too that you're talking about is like, you're right. We create the opportunity and bring the agency to them. And
Correct.
what's awesome about partnering with you guys is you hear Brian and you talk about all those systems and processes that you guys are putting in to grow it from 200 to 400.
Yeah.
We have a vested interest now, and that we're
Correct.
working directly with you on that agency.
Yep.
And so, we definitely have the hardest part, which is finding them.
Yes.
And then, they fund them and we input the systems.
Correct.
And it's amazing what the possibilities are. And,
Yeah.
especially on the annuity, the life side, how do you want, if Monty wrote 3 million in annuities,
Yeah.
he went through a process that we
Correct.
are going to implement in all these agencies.
Yes.
And so as we implement these processes in all these agencies, you'd be a part of that. If, as we always have a rule, you can't be a jerk and we have to want to work with you. But after that, we're going to share everything.
Yes.
And we're going to bring you into the fold. And I think you're 100% correct. You may have ideas that we haven't thought of.
True.
And I'm humble enough, and I know Cody's humble enough to say, let's add it in.
Yeah.
And so we can just kill it.
Well, it's way more fun to do stuff with people than do stuff alone. Like I felt like early on I was a lot on this track where I'm just doing a lot on my own, and you really want a team, right? Like,
Absolutely.
you need people on the team and the bus that are really good. Like you really need people on the bus that are better at certain things than you would ever be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at all of our salespeople and our operations people and the team and the different companies, and we've got this building, and then marketing has the other building, and then Lauren and I bought the storage facility, and then we're adding space in the back in another building. Dylan, I don't even know if he knows this. We're adding another 2,500 square feet in the back building, the fourth building. So we're like creating this, and then we're going to campus really, and then we're going to move Matt and Christy down from St. Louis to Springfield.
You keep trying to get us to move down from St. Louis to Springfield, man. I just, I guess you never know, but I also think from your end too, what's awesome is of all these people, and you're talking about adding these people, what's awesome is you got to add the right people. How many people have you had on this where they totally got screwed over?
Totally.
Because they built something for 5 years and they didn't tell them, oh, well, you can never leave. I've got you.
Yes.
And so
yes,
what I think is awesome about you guys, and you have such a really good reputation for, if I tell you this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to be. And we're not going to hold you captive. So if we tell you it's whatever on the PNC side as far as how we're going to do it,
yes,
you know you're going to get that no matter what.
Correct.
And you don't have to worry about, are we holding back 20%?
Right.
Which is, in this industry,
good to know.
After 21 years, it's like,
yeah, you've seen it all too.
some people just are not honest.
You've seen it all.
Yeah.
What attracted you to this industry, by the way?
You know what? So my mom was the first ever employee for this broker dealer RIA.
Nice.
And I would put back then there was no electronic deposit. So I would put the checks in each rep's thing, and I would see checks for, back then $80,000 check a week was a big deal, and $40,000 here. And I was like,
what the heck's going on over here?
How do I get into this?
Are they money laundering, or what the heck we got going on here? They're doing it the wrong way. They're putting it on paper. Should be cash.
So I actually majored in insurance. So I was just like, I'm gonna do this because I'm not smart enough to do anything.
So you majored in insurance and risk management.
Yep. From Missouri State.
Wow.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
You went here?
I did.
It was SMS back then, though, wasn't it?
It was SMS.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy. Kelly just graduated for their master's from there a few days ago. Yeah, a week ago, whatever.
And I love in the industry, you can make as much money as you want with very little overhead.
That's very true too. You can add as little or as much overhead as you would like.
Yeah. But on the acquisition side, what I love too is with the right one, we can get an SBA loan. It's only 5% down.
Yeah.
And so for some people that are saying, well, I just don't have enough money, or I don't have this or that, you never know. You just don't know.
There's special stuff out there, 5%, 10%. There's, if you have stuff if you don't have capital, but you have stuff that you can bring to the table, like you can find agencies, you can cross-sell, you can come in and cross-sell the book in an agency where we're looking for people, like we're looking for people in Southwest Missouri, looking for people in Houston and San Antonio, Texas.
Yep.
We're looking for people in, we may be acquiring something in Idaho and Colorado soon. There's some stuff moving, and we just like working with people.
Yeah. And I love, and I think you love, because I think that's probably why a big reason for 8%. I love helping other people see that you don't have to make 50 grand. We can help you make 500, 300, 400, you name it. And, everyone can do well, not just one person. And that's just, in this industry, I think that's where you guys shine. Like most people would take what you guys do and give about half to everybody else. Whereas you guys take 5%. It's just awesome. So I give you a lot of credit.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate
and I think you've proven that model can work. And so how do we take that model on the PNC side and just grow it tremendously? And that's what we're going to do. Yeah, totally. That's exactly what we're going to do. What attracted you to the financial piece, the money piece? Like, you're a numbers guy, you're a math guy. You're my money man. Right. Yeah.
My money manager. Even though I don't have a lot yet, I'm working on it.
Well, you don't have to have a lot.
I just spend a lot.
Yeah. I think on the financial planning side, I think just like people think I don't have a PNC license, I shouldn't buy a PNC shop. We're talking to people now that are associated with you that
it's a good myth.
Yeah, that's basically have the Medicare, the life, the annuity.
Yeah. And
this person, for example, lives in Texas, and they're like, Texas is a solicitor state, so I can pay that person on the financial planning side. So we are going to go in there and input all the financial planning stuff. And I think what attracts me about the financial planning side is I think that is such a sticky relationship. Mm-hmm. And I know everyone on every side says, I own that client. And I think your dad's probably he's the person that doesn't really apply to this. But typically the guy on the finances side, you can get every single thing because they tell you everything.
Yeah.
And so on the financial planning side, I love the recurring revenue. You're providing a service.
I didn't realize that either, by the way, like on what you're talking about, by the way. And
So-
you don't have to have a license. Like you can actually refer business. Like there's some ways around this stuff, right? Without having to get your Series 65. If you want to do that, that's great too. This is your dude if you do. There's stuff that I didn't realize, like the recurring. You said something to me a while back, okay? And I'm going to share it. I'll share it. I'll share it in a different way, maybe. Okay, we'll see what comes out. Pretty much what you said is, if you think there's money on the insurance side, guess what happens when you see the amount of money on the financial side?
Right.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Like that's pretty. I mean,
And it's all recurring as opposed to the insurance side typically. Now I know Medicare is a little different.
Yeah, but not all the insurance side is recurring. And the thing is with the insurance side is the recurring pieces. You've got to sell a lot of pieces typically, and a lot of the correct pieces to have a lot of recurring revenue.
So for every $1 million, for every $1 million, if you could net 14,000,
yeah,
think about that. That's just $10 million to get 140 grand of revenue.
Wow.
And that's, as the market grows,
yeah,
that number grows and you get that percentage. It's just,
wow. So you're playing in the increase too.
you're playing in the increase. You're playing in.
So what's a
every
normal
side of
book
it.
size? Like 100 million?
100 million is a pretty good sized book. I'd say the average person's probably going to have 40 to 50 million. They're going to make 400 to 600,000.
Okay.
But with some of the stuff we're doing,
yeah.
and some of the stuff on the marketing side with overlay, I've never seen anything like it. It can't be beat, and no one else can do it. And so that's where we're headed, I think.
It's wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally wild. What have you noticed when we roll around the country at these road shows and the 8% conference? You've been a couple times. What have you seen? What have you been experienced to? What have you noticed around the industry? Meeting people, talking to people. Like, what's some things that you've picked up on?
I'd say, so I've been doing conferences for 21 years. I'm the booth guy. We're doing the recruiting, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd say the number one thing that I've noticed, the number one difference is most of those conferences, you have the same 15 to 20 people talking about how great they are and how they just want to get someone to come work through them so they can. Their way of providing value is to not really provide value, but to provide a way for them to make more money.
Yeah.
I think 100%, besides the quality of the people behind 8%, you and your team, the number one thing I think is people are actually there to provide real value. So, for example, Roger, John, anybody, they're there saying, here's how I do it, here's how I did it. They're not saying,
whether they recruit you or not.
Yeah, they're not saying, oh, come to me, I'll tell you how to do
Yes.
it.
Yes.
You know? And so
there's an amazing secret sauce. It's crazy. It's going to revolutionize your business. I can't tell you, but maybe in the hallway.
Yeah. And just, we're going to recruit every single person we can over. So I think when people have brought their teams to you, initially they're probably like, oh man, I'm not sure. But I think
for sure,
every single one at the 8% has said, there was a guy last week that said, or not last week, at the last one in Atlanta. That basically said, I only brought 10 people, but I should have brought 200 or something to that effect.
Something crazy,
And I'm like, and he said that because you're providing value.
Correct.
Your breakouts are awesome, and people get to pick on the breakout what applies to them.
Yes.
And then they get to hear the amazing speakers that, you've announced some of them and some of them you haven't.
Yeah.
But so I'd say that's the biggest difference.
That's the power in speaking at some of that stuff too, and being involved and getting involved, not only just attending, but even speaking at them. And, if you want to do your own breakout, let's talk. I'm open to it. Like you did a breakout last year.
Yeah.
And you met a specific individual.
Yeah.
That's now going to be acquiring some agencies with us.
Not only
started there.
Not only is she going to acquire some agencies, but I talked on the bank. Part of what I talked about was the huge opportunity in banks and credit unions. And I did such an amazing job at that talk. We're talking about acquisitions. And 15 minutes into acquisitions, she's like, yeah, I have a family connection to 5 banks. And I'm like, Why didn't you start there?
Yeah, y'all talked about this 6 months ago.
Right.
And she never brought it up.
Right. And so, on Monday after Christmas, we're going to meet with these 4 banks.
That's awesome.
And the revenue opportunities on banks, I can't even tell you. It's tremendous. For about every $100 million, you should make on the fee-based side 100 to 150 grand.
Jeez.
And that's not even counting all the stuff we can do on the Medicare, the life, annuity, PNC. So even if you're not licensed and you have a connection, you don't even have to use us. I'll tell you exactly what to do, how to get in there, what you need to say. I'll give you the presentation.
Yes.
And it's gotten us in. We have, what do we have? We have 7 meetings over the next 1 week with banks.
Jeez. Trying to get into a bunch of banks, bro.
And big banks.
They give you access to the whole vault too when you do that.
They give you access to not only the whole vault, but they do all the marketing for you.
Not literally, okay?
Yeah. They do all the marketing for you. It's a tremendous opportunity for you guys. So
yes.
I know you're excited. I know I've been talking to you guys about it for a long time. It's harder to get into. It's not one of those things where you're going to sell a Medicare policy like you're going to sell a bank in one day.
Correct.
But you get it, and it is, we have a guy in a $800 million credit union today. This year he'll make $2.5 million.
Wow.
And that's not counting Medicare, PNC, or any of the ancillary stuff.
That is one of the bigger opportunities I've heard you talk about. And you consistently talk about it because you've actually seen it work for people.
Yeah. And the reason people get impatient is because I think you and I see long term, like, let's invest a little bit of time. I'm meeting with one bank next year. It's taken a year.
Yeah.
But, I just don't give up. Once they say they're interested, I'm all over them.
Dude, dude follows up, by the way.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I will show you exactly what to do if anyone has any connections there.
What's some tips for following up as we go there? Because a lot of people on video that struggle with following up. Like, people show interest and then they never follow up. Or they call them once, they don't answer, and you know who you are, and they quit. That's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, that is really bad. But, I think that's what's going to separate people from, I'm going to get that Medicare client, or I'm going to get that bank, or I'm not going to get that bank.
Yes.
And part of it, too, is like, I don't just call my bank person only when I want something from them.
Right.
I'm caring about them in other ways. Like John Rulin had talked on your podcast, and I can't wait for everyone to hear him speak. But
yeah, our Power Player Mastermind call. Yeah,
and he did such a great job. But I first care about them, and they know it. Like, I do stuff for them before I do stuff for me. That's
a big piece, by the way. The bringing value in the follow up to the other party. Keep talking about that, because that's big.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like the way I bring value. And you talked earlier about we're doing the Bible studies. If I know someone kind of has similar beliefs, and you don't have to by any means.
No.
But
it's not a requirement.
Once they know, I'll send them a book that I like. I'll send them a book. I bought like 100 books. It was called The Circle Maker.
Oh, wow.
And anyone that I knew was at least similar, I would just send them a book with a handwritten note and be like, hey, man, just thinking about you, just praying for you. And it wasn't like hey, I'm doing this so that you'll call me back. Mm-hmm. It was like, hey, if there's something you need, let me know. Because a lot of guys have nobody. And so just showing them that you care is huge. So I would just follow up constantly on that. And I would just send them I'll send text messages to groups, or I'll send text messages to people and just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. If they're not a believer, totally fine. Hey, I'm thinking about you. What can I be doing for you? Who can we introduce you to? If it's a believer, I mean, I'll be like, hey, what can I be praying for you about? What can I be doing for you?
Yes.
And that just makes all the difference in the world, as long as it's real.
It's a different approach.
It is a different approach.
When can we get a call? When can we get on a call together so I can sell you something?
Yeah.
Versus, right? I also need to give you one of the books here. It's Rich Cavaniss' book, Power to Thrive. The guy that was...
we talked to yesterday.
Yeah, you talked to, and then, I need to give you one of those. He left me several, which is cool.
And if you believe in what you're doing, why wouldn't you follow up?
Yeah. That's a good point. Maybe they don't believe in what they're doing.
Or maybe they don't believe in themselves.
Maybe they don't believe in themselves. Their ability, maybe there's a confidence problem.
Yeah. As I say in my talk all the time, take a step. And it doesn't matter which step, just take one.
Yes. You start taking too many steps, he'll make you do an Ironman with him. Okay, so be careful. Right?
That is true.
We did that. For those that didn't know, they hadn't heard, I did a half marathon and a half Ironman both last year. 70 total miles, 1.2 miles swim,
56 mile bike.
56 mile bike, and a half marathon, 13.2 mile run, or 13.1.
13.1.
Whatever. I always get those confused. Yeah, that's true. 70.3 total.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you crushed it.
Crazy.
You did a really good job.
I
You
don't know.
committed. Look, dude, it's a big deal.
did commit.
I know you're going to downplay it, and you're downplayed it this whole time. It's a big deal to go from a half marathon to a half Ironman.
Well, I wasn't prepped for the half marathon either.
I know you aren't. Well, I was in this office when you were about to do it that weekend.
Yes.
And then you did it, and I texted you, and I was kind of saying, as a smartass, like,
Yeah.
hey, is that all you got?
Yes.
I said, what about a half Ironman? And you texted me back, sure, I'll do a half. I'm like, damn it.
I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but I'm in.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I showed you everything. You borrowed my bike.
Correct.
Yeah. So I set you up with all the
Yeah, you
gear.
gave me a bike.
And you did it, man. I think that's amazing. Like, most
it was
people couldn't
rough.
do it. It was only rough because you were a little stubborn on the nutrition.
I didn't prep hard enough, and the nutrition I was definitely stubborn on. Yes, I should.
But you did.
I regret it now. I'm starting to realize how big nutrition is, by the way, because now I track my nutrition every day.
Yeah.
My FitnessPal app, everything I consume, I put it in the app. I didn't used to do that though. So.
And I love doing follow-ups early. Like,
yes,
we both get up early. We both go work out. You're feeling really good. You've accomplished something already, and then you can go, and then you can. I just can knock so much out between 7 and 9 after I've just getting this really good workout. And a lot of people think they can only do stuff between 8 and 5. Or I talk to so many people at 6:30. And
that's true. Let's talk. Yeah, we talk all the time at those hours. What time do you get up? For those that are listening, I want to shock you guys right now. Okay.
My wife and I get up at 3:45. We're to the gym usually by 4:15, and we're doing a workout, usually a weight workout and some cardio. So maybe an hour and a half or so. But
an hour and a half of that from like
total
4:15 or 4:30.
We'll work out from 4:15 to 5:45, 6 o'clock.
And you're home by about 6.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
But it's made such a difference, dude. It's
I
made
believe it.
such a difference in how we feel, how we interact. If you're feeling like you don't want to follow up because you're not confident, it gives you so much more confidence.
Yes.
And if you want to know, or you ever want to talk about food, workouts, if you want someone to just challenge you, or if you want to challenge me, I'm in.
Come on.
Let's do it.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun though. But it's really...
Why do you do that? So for those that aren't doing that, right? Maybe they're sleeping in, maybe they're getting up at 7, whatever, why has that helped you be a better human overall?
Well, I think one thing it's done is my wife does it with me. So it's really improved our marriage. Like,
okay, that's cool.
That society tells us right now that there's something better about to walk in this door.
True.
Whereas I say,
so true.
I've got my wife, and my wife's beautiful. She's naturally gifted with just with how she processes fats and things like that. But to see her working out with me every day, that creates such a connection of, all right, I'm trying for her, she's trying for me. All right, let's do this. And then I really do it because mentally, like, it just changes you.
You're definitely a lot sharper.
Yeah, a lot sharper.
Once I started doing the daily train with a trainer, working out every morning, it's wild.
Yeah, and then you start watching your food, and once you start watching your food, you feel better overall. You feel better inside. We don't even have to get into the cold showers and the Wim Hof method, but
come on.
If you want, the Wim Hof method is an amazing book. If you ever
I need
get
to read
bored.
it. I've heard about it. I've looked into it. I've seen some videos, but I haven't fully read the whole book of like the actual ice bath.
Yeah.
But I know Tony Robbins jumps into like 56 degree ice cold water it doesn't sound cold, but that's cold, every morning. He has like this plunge.
What's awesome about it is that book is he literally says, you don't need me. So he's not saying, I'm a cult, come follow me. He's saying, you don't need me. Here's what I do. Go do it. And in that book, what's amazing is that he has taken people from being on all these medications, having all these like mental issues. And I, people want to argue, fine, there's 5% of the country that they need it.
Sure.
But he basically says, you don't need it. Here's how, and they will have people that have come to him on their last, like, I'm about to kill myself literally, and you are my last hope. And he doesn't inject them with drugs. He doesn't do any of that. He says, I'm going to teach you breathing, and we're going to do 2 minutes in an ice bath. And it completely changed their life.
Wow.
There's so many stories in there from people with ulcerative colitis, diabetes, mental issues.
Yes.
It's a great, great read.
I have heard of that the U.S. consumes like a crazy amount more prescription medication and medication in general than compared to other countries.
We are
compared to the rest of the world.
We are, I believe, 5% of the population, and we consume 60 or 65% of the drugs.
Goodness gracious!
And there's a speaker coming on to your thing next 8%, and he's challenged the maker of, I believe, Kellogg's cereal. He's offered him $250,000 for a 10-minute interview on what they put in their cereal, and the guy will not do it.
Shut up.
I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're about to release him New Year's Eve, I think. We just signed on, right? And just wired money to? Yeah, that guy, yeah. Just a little spoiler alert.
So he's been pushing this.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
$250,000 for 10 minutes to talk about your product.
Yes.
To build your brand.
Right.
To sell more of whatever you got in that stuff, and he won't do it.
Nope.
Dang, maybe we should stop Kellogg's cereal too, right? Probably a lot of sugar for one, but
I might be wrong on the brand, but you get the point.
Whatever. Yeah. Kellogg, we're sorry if it wasn't you. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
Matt's fault.
Yeah. Sue me. Yeah. Go for it.
I love it, dude. This has been fun, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all you're doing. It's awesome.
We could thank you as well. We're having a blast doing what we're doing, man. We're going to go acquire a bunch of agencies around the country and help people. Also, the owners can stay involved. That's what's cool. So if you're out there and you're like, dude, I want to sell my agency, you can stay involved if you want.
Yeah.
You can just take, you can add business partners, whatever. Like we just want to help people in whatever way we can. This dude's doing a phenomenal job of that. He's the money man, the Iron Man, and a bunch of other manly man stuff. Okay. So I've enjoyed partnering with him and his wife. I wanted to do this special Christmas episode to talk about what we're doing and all the cool stuff we're having. So when we come to a city near you, we'll make sure you meet Mr. Matt Evans.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. See you on the next episode. Have a Merry Christmas. If you love this video, you know I got another one that you're going to love. I got a video just to your right here. Click on that. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. And I'll see you in there. I've got a new top 10 quit list that I'm going to share with you right now. I'm telling you, there are 10 things that you may or may not be doing, but you got to quit doing these things immediately. I'm telling you,